What's up, everybody? This is Quet, and today I want to do a quick video for you all going over event listeners. If you watched my last video on DOM manipulation and how that's beneficial as a developer, today's video is going to kind of be an extension on that, and it's going to show you how you can use DOM manipulation to uh, change things on your website when a user clicks a button or takes some type of action. Essentially, an event listener is a method that you have that you add to your query selector or whatever type of however you're calling a node in the DOM. You add a event listener, and when a specific action happens, then it's going to trigger a function to run. So in today's example, I already have some quick HTML code that I made. Essentially, just a button that says "click me," and I have a score that is set to 0 here in the HTML, and you can see that here in the browser. So I'm gonna show you how to make event listeners work in a quick example. So I have this score that's set to 0. So I'm gonna write a JavaScript variable here called score. I'm gonna set that value to 0, the same as it is on the page. And I'm gonna write two things here. I'm gonna write a function that is going to update the score, and I'm gonna write a query listener that waits for the button to be clicked, and when this button is clicked, the score is gonna be updated. So I'm gonna create a function called new score. I'm going to use document query selector. If you watched my last video on DOM manipulation, you saw me do this before. I'm going to the DOM. I'm going to grab this right here, this score element. So I'm going to grab that class, and I'm going to change the inner HTML. And I'm going to set that equal to score. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. So a lot of people probably see something like this here, score space plus, and then we're going to have that score variable. Something like this is what they typically see. So for me, I don't really like to write my code this way. I like to actually use something called string interpolation. I think it's much cleaner. I don't have to have a bunch of plus signs between everything. I don't have to remember to put quotes and spaces and all this kind of stuff. So I'm actually going to rewrite this. And if you haven't seen this before, this might be something that's really beneficial to you. So we start off with backticks on the front, and we wrap everything in backticks. We keep this score. We're going to erase this plus sign. We're going to put a $sign, open brace here, and a close brace. And there we go. So this is the same exact thing as I showed you earlier. It's just a little bit more cleaner to me, and I can just create a sentence pretty much. Like if I need to add more score, I can say the score is score, and then if I had another JavaScript element, I could JavaScript variable, I could put the other variable here, and I have the score is score. I have a space here between variable. I just like the syntax of this. It's way more cleaner to me. So let me get rid of this. Okay, so we have that set up, and we should be good on that. So we have this function called new score. It's going to grab this score element in the HTML, and it's going to change that text to be score and whatever this value is, which is 0, which is also already set on the page, right? So the next thing that I want to do after that actually is write another query I want to query the DOM one more time, and I want to do document get query selector. Sorry, I'm so used to write get element by class name, but I think most people like to use query selector, so thought I'd just stick with that. So click me, I believe is the name here. Yep. So the button has a class of click me, so we're gonna grab that. We're gonna add an event listener here. So this is the main point of this video, right? So we're adding this method called add event listener, and what this is gonna do is it's gonna take in two arguments. The first argument is the event that it should be listening for, which in this case we're clicking a button. So we're gonna add click as that first parameter. And the second thing is a callback method. So I don't think I covered this in my video for functions, but a callback method is when you write a function and you call it inside of another function, and you just call it somewhere else. So we have this function called new score, and notice that I haven't called it anywhere. I didn't say new score and set it here. If I set it here, it's it runs automatically. However, I want this to run whenever the button is clicked. So here I'm going to throw in new score. And what this is saying is, hey, grab this click me element, add an event listener. Wait, whenever it's clicked, I want you to call this function, call this callback function. That's what makes it a callback function, is put it into somewhere else and saying call it when this thing happens. So this is how event listeners work. If we come over here to my page now, we refresh it, this button is clicked, there we go. We see the score going up by 1 every time the button is clicked. We can make this, anything. I could put plus equals 10 every time the button is clicked and refresh, and then we have 10, 20, 30. There we go. And there's a lot of different events that can happen. You can do mouse in, you can do mouse out. There's a ton of different events. I'll look for the MDN documentation, the link, and maybe that'll have a list of different events that you can plug in. I can show you an example of mouse over maybe. I think if I do mouse in, yeah, if I do mouse in, and let's say I comment this out, I'm just actually gonna copy and paste this part. Actually, no, sorry. I just want to show another example of another type of event listener. So I'm going to change this to body style, background color blue, and I'm gonna make a new function here. I'm gonna call this one new color red. And this is going to be mouse out. So if I've written this mouse in correctly and mouse out correctly, whenever I drag my mouse over this button, the background should turn blue, and when I drag it out, the background should turn red. So yeah, there we go. We dragged in, it turned blue. I dragged out, it didn't work because I didn't write new color the callback function here, so it's still turning blue. So if I go back again, it turned red when I moused out. When I moused in, it didn't turn blue. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what I did wrong here to make it not work when I moused in. Let's see. Mouse in, new score. Background should be blue. Mouse in isn't the correct word here. Yeah, but you kind of get the picture. I guess if I go to event listeners. I could just pull it up really quickly. Uh, sure, W3 schools is fine. See if they have mouse. They have mouse down. I'm guessing the point is kind of made here. That if you mouse in, if I had written that correctly, once you kind of bring your mouse into a certain space, the event listener is listening. It sees that it happens and it says, "Hey, change this color." And then when the mouse disappears, it changes to another color. So yeah, I'm actually gonna just keep the video as it is. Even with my little coding mistake. Mistakes happen when you're coding. You write the wrong thing in and it doesn't work, and then you have to Google the solution. And I'm just gonna keep it real here. This is what happens. But this is it's mine. I'm just trying to prove a point here that there's a lot of different actions that you can have your code listening for, and once it happens, it goes and it triggers the event listener, which makes a function run, and your function has a set of instructions that it has to carry out. So that's it for today's video. As I've stated a few times before, all the videos that I've made this week, declaring variables, what functions are, um, manipulating the DOM, and DOM querying the DOM, and event listeners is all leading up to another video that I'm doing very shortly, in which we'll actually be making a small app using Ant-Man, Marvel's Ant-Man. We're going to make him shrink and grow, and it's going to tie everything together that I've been going over this week. So hopefully you've been enjoying the videos that I've been making. Hopefully this one was interesting to you, and if you haven't used event listeners before, hopefully now you know how event listeners work and you're excited about the Ant-Man video that I'm gonna make. It's gonna be really cool. Hopefully you guys are into Ant-Man and superheroes and stuff of that nature. So, yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I wouldn't be, like I've said before, doing this whole YouTube thing right if I didn't ask you to like and subscribe. Like this video if it was beneficial to you. Subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or any comments, you can leave them in the comment section. You can also tweet me. My Twitter is @QuetCodesFire, same as the YouTube channel. And thank you for taking the time to listen to me today.